Welcome to Alan Berry Reports TV. I'm your host, Alan Berry Labucan from alanberryreports.com. Today we have a new installment of our In the News segment show. This is our show where we talk about resource companies with recent developments and try to give you a little insight into what we think about their developments. On today's show we have two resource companies to talk about. One of them is involved with uranium, and the other is a gold-focused company, and both those companies have had a lot of news out recently, so we'll have a lot to talk about on today's program. Before we get started, we always like to start out with some thank yous. First of all, we use youtube.com and ustream.tv. You can find links to both of our channels on those two websites above me there if you're watching the show on our website. And those two websites, YouTube and Ustream, are really great for anybody who's looking at doing online shows. And we highly recommend them and thank them for giving us a platform to be able to produce and broadcast these shows so you can watch them at your convenience. In addition, if you're watching the show on our website at alanberryreports.com, if you look to the left and right of me, you'll notice that there's banners. Those banner companies are very important in us being able to bring these shows to you. And if you want to do some homework on those companies, you just click on their banners. That'll take you to their websites where they've got plenty of information about their work and their projects, and a really good place for you to do homework on those companies. And then, of course, to you, the viewers, if you didn't show up, we wouldn't have a reason to do the show. So thank you very much for giving us an audience to do shows for, and it really affords us a chance to do something which we really enjoy, which is follow the markets closely and try to give you some insight on what's going on with commodities and resource stocks, and try to find some good resource stocks for you to do your homework on and take a look at. So on today's show, we've got the first company we're going to talk about is Hathor.exploration. On the disclosure, we are shareholders of the company. Our past coverage of them started in September 9th, 2007. We had them as a featured company in our Alan Berry Reports email newsletter. That was our 14th edition. If you look above me, you'll see a report section on our website, and in there you can find that 14th edition and other editions that we talked about Hathor in, and see what we had to say about them then. We've also had them on our Ustream channel, on our Ustream shows on July the 29th. And again, the link is above me there, and you can find that on our Ustream channel. On our YouTube channel, we had them on our September 22nd, October 19th, and November the 12th or 10th shows, and the link to the YouTube channel is also above there. Their website is hathor.ca. That's hathor.ca. In fact, I'm pulling it up now, and the first news release we're going to look for is the one that they put out on December the 8th. On December 8th, the headline from that news release is, and I'm reading it off the website here, the headline is Hathor intersects 10.5% uranium over 16.5 meters at Rough Rider East, and the Rough Rider zone is bolstered by additional mineralization. They go on that they provided final chemical assays for its 2010 summer drill program on the Midwest Northeast property, Athabasca Basin, Saskatchewan. Key results include high-grade intersections at Rough Rider East, which extend the strike length of the deposit to 160 meters, including a high-grade core over 100 meters. The Rough Rider deposit itself has been bolstered by new mineralization intersected outside the extents of the recently upgraded resource of, and I'm going to talk about that resource later after I finish this this December 8th press release. They mentioned that the Rough Rider East was not included in the recent resource update that I'm going to talk about in a little bit. They talk about aggressive delineation drilling will continue this winter, so they'll have a lot to follow up on from the summer program in the winter program. Then they give you some details about the drilling with the grades and intersections. There's plenty of high grade. The really good thing about this Rough Rider, the Rough Rider discoveries, is that they're very high grade, very good intersections, and it's in Saskatchewan. So they give plenty of details there. They have a couple of maps on the attached to the news release on their website that show you some of the target zones and some of the where they've drilled, how things are looking at depth, and then some overviews. And so you can get a real good and all the drill hole assay tables as well. So you can get a real good idea in that press release from what's going on the Rough Rider East and the Rough Rider Zone drilling. So the next press release that they mentioned in that December 8th press release, and we want to go into a little more detail on, was the November the 30th press release. Again, that's on their website. The headline from that press release is Hathor upgrades mineral resource estimate for Rough Rider uranium deposit to 28 million pounds of uranium, including high-grade zone of 24 million pounds at 11.7% uranium. They go on that they're pleased to announce the updated and upgraded mineral resource estimate for the Rough Rider uranium deposit located on its Midwest Northeast property, Athabasca Basin, Saskatchewan. Details are provided in Table 1, and then those details include approximately 60% of the mineral resource is in the indicated category. Conceptual whittle pit optimization indicates 99% of the mineral resource is amenable to open pit extraction. They go on that metallurgical extraction recoveries of 98% have been reported previously for the Rough Rider deposit. That was in their June 16th news release of 2010. Low arsenic levels are confirmed. Average depth to the top of the deposit is approximately 215 meters, so it's really close to surface. Nearly all mineralization is located within the basement rock. Then they talk about, then they give you the mineral resource. They break it down to the indicated high grade, indicated low grade, and then the indicated total, as well as they add the inferred totals in there. So if you add those two resource calculations of indicated and inferred, they're talking about 28 million pounds of uranium. In the indicated high grade, they were talking about 13 million pounds, so you got some really good high grade there. And then also in the inferred, a little over 10 million pounds in the high grade zone. And again, that average grade is somewhere around, on the high grade indicated is 10.68%, and on the inferred high grade is 13%, so very high grade. That's the nature of the deposits out there in Saskatchewan. So then they go into a great deal more details about the resource calculation. They mention that this does not include the Midwest, the Rough Rider East, so that's really important. And then they've got a bunch of details about the resource. You can see a model of the drill hole that have been completed, so you can get an idea of how the deposit looks at three-dimensionally below surface. So that's some really good visuals there, as well as details about the resource calculation. So that's all the detail, the press releases. Always want to mention before we close off on talking about any companies is why we like the companies, in addition to what we talked about in the press release. And we started following Hathor before they even made the Rough Rider discovery. The key reasons that we were started following them, that was back in 2007. That was pretty near the top of the uranium euphoria, when uranium had got over $100 per pound. And at that time, there was a lot of companies talking about, well, we've got a uranium project, we've got a uranium project. But what stood out to us regarding Hathor was they were really busy working on their projects and trying to make discoveries, less about promoting that they were involved with the uranium, and much more focused on doing the exploration to find something. We liked that they were focused on uranium, that Saskatchewan was their area of where they were doing all their exploration. And then shortly after, this is not a timing call or anything, but shortly after we started covering them, they made the discovery of the Rough Rider discovery, and then things started to ramp up quite aggressively. Now they're advancing. They've just done this large resource. They're doing plenty of exploration because there's lots of targets open to expand on the known zones and also to look for new zones. And they got a lot of drilling upcoming in this year's winter exploration season. So, those are some of the reasons we like the company. Again, a great place to start your homework is on their website that we mentioned earlier. Again, it's hathor.ca. That's hathor.ca. So that's a wrap on our chat regarding Hathor. The second company we're going to talk about today is Frontier Gold. On the disclosure, we're not shareholders of the company. Our past coverage of them, we've had them on a couple of our Ustream shows, links up there on September the 9th and August the 12th. And then if you go to our YouTube channel, you would look for the October 5th, November 2nd, and November 24th shows. And again, the links are up there. Their website is frontiergold.com. They've had 3 recent news releases that we're going to talk about. So first of all, I'm going to get to their website. And I apologize for not being able to, when I'm talking about the news, I try to look at it on the website of the companies. It's kind of hard for me to, I'm not going to do a big, huge script of all the stuff in the news release. I kind of talk about it as I'm reading it. Well, I've read it much before doing the show, but talking about it, so that's why I'm not looking at you while I'm reading from their website. The first news release we're looking for is their November 30th press release. In the headline from that one is drilling delivers more high grade to Long Canyon deposit, including 13.7 grams per ton gold over 21.3 meters. They go on in there that they reported the ongoing drilling continues to return wide intervals of high-grade oxide gold at its wholly owned Long Canyon deposit located in northeastern Nevada. Then they have some of the highlighted drill holes beyond that one that they have in their headline. Another example of their drilling is they had a 4.18 grams per ton gold over 59 meters. They had another hole with 5.77 grams per ton gold over 34 meters. Then they go on. They have some maps attached to the press release that gives you some ideas of how the overall work is going on the Long Canyon project. Then they talked about their 2011 goals. They mentioned that Frontier is well funded to advance Long Canyon on a 100% basis as they move the project through development. Long Canyon's comprehensive work program is focused on resource definition and expansion, as well as metallurgical, engineering, and environmental work necessary to move the project to feasibility stage. Then they have plenty of details. One of the key ones is they plan for $25 million worth of work for 2011. So they got a lot of work to do there on the Long Canyon. So then the next press release that we're looking for was on the December the 2nd. a lot of times when we're talking about Frontier Gold, we talk about their Long Canyon project because they do a lot of work on it, and it's had a lot of news out. But another of their really good high quality projects is their Northumberland project in Nevada as well. And the headline from the December 2nd news release, which is dealing with the Northumberland project, is open pit test work returns 6.06 grams per ton gold over 16.92 meters and 369.5 grams per ton silver over 3.05 meters at Northumberland in Nevada. They go on that they reported core drilling adjacent to and beneath the historic pits at the company's wholly owned Northumberland gold deposit, returned excellent grades over significant widths. They mentioned that Frontier's goal is to advance Northumberland as a combined open pit and underground operation. The majority of drilling conducted to date by Frontier is focused on defining high-grade domains of underground mineable sulfide gold mineralization, which are now in the process of being accessed via 280-meter decline. So they're starting to get some underground workings there that'll give them access to those zones at depth. They also mentioned that the other important component of Northumberland's overall development program is to define the open pit mineable oxide and transitional material surrounding the property's two shallow historic pits. So they kind of got a dual focus there. They're looking at going underground for the higher grade and then the open pit potential as well. Then they have a table with all the various different drill holes, plenty of details about their Northumberland exploration efforts in that December 2nd press release on the company's website. I don't know if I mentioned the website. It is frontiergold.com. That's FRONTEERGOLD.com. Then the next press release we're looking for was from December 13th. The headline is drilling to west of resource area at Long Canyon returns 9.84 grams per ton gold over 27.7 meters. They reported wide intervals of high-grade oxide gold to the west of the resource area at its 100% wholly owned Long Canyon deposit, and that aggressive step-out drilling to the northeast is well underway. Then they go into some significant details about the work and the recent results. And so they got a lot of really good details in there about the Long Canyon project. And again, we're not going to go into all the details. It'll take us much too long for this show. But you can find those three press releases. And this is a good indication. We talked about them last on November 24th. And since then, they've had three really important news releases out. So it just goes to show you how busy this company is. That's a wrap on the news from Frontier that we wanted to talk about. Before wrapping up, we want to always talk about why we follow this company so closely. They're a gold-focused company with more than one high-quality project in Nevada. They're rapidly moving their projects forward on several fronts. They recently took over one of the featured companies from our email newsletter, AUEX Resources, and that's why they now mention that that's a Long Canyon is a wholly owned project, is because they took over AUEX, which was a very successful call for us and our company to feature in our reports. They were formerly joint venture partners on Long Canyon, and so now by Frontier taking over AUEX, they're now it's all one. They've got plenty of drilling, plenty of news flow going forward. We expect to see a lot of news out of this company. One of the key reasons that we like the company is they're one of the candidates we think of that could potentially move into the middle-sized category. In the mining sector, you sort of have your small exploration and larger exploration companies once they've made discoveries. Then you've got your large major mining companies, and there used to be a fair amount of companies in that middle-sized category. The mergers and acquisitions that have happened over the last 4 or 5 years has kind of hollowed out that middle-sized category. This is a very important category for the mining sector because many of the major mining companies started as exploration companies, then became middle tier, and then now are major mining companies. But sometimes, because those major mining companies are so big, the projects that the junior exploration companies find may not be big enough for those very large major mining companies. But for a middle-sized company, they can be really good engines for growth. And so we need those companies in the mining sector. There's not enough of them, and it certainly looks like Frontier Gold has the potential to move into that category. So that's another key reason why we follow Frontier. So that's a wrap on our chat regarding Frontier. Again, if you want to do your homework, just go to their website at frontiergold.com. You can find plenty of information. So before closing, we'd like to stress that this show and our reports are for information purposes only. We aren't making buying or selling recommendations. It's important for you to do your own research and homework and speak with your financial advisors before making any investment decisions. We're always trying to grow our audience, and any efforts you can make to help get the word out about our reports, our website, and our shows would be greatly appreciated. We also greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch the shows. We know that everybody is very busy these days, and we strive to produce a show that saves you time and brings you helpful, high-quality information. Our next show will be tomorrow. We're going to be doing another In the News show where we'll be talking about some resource companies with recent developments. So we hope you can join us for that show or check out all of our past shows. And you can find all of our work on our website at allenberryreports.com. We hope to see you soon. Have a great day.